Hey, what's up everyone? Special Ed here. Wanted to show you my red oak epoxy table attempts. I went ahead and cut this log off of a red oak that fell in the backyard. It's close to 5 feet, 4.5 feet or so. And got some really pretty wood in there. But when I cut it with the chainsaw, it got a little ugly. It got deep in some spots and high in others. It's not easy to do with just a chainsaw. So, but it is beautiful wood. There's a lot of knots. There's a lot of wormholes. There's a lot of character to this stuff. When it's wet, it's really nice. And I think the epoxy is going to show up nice. And I want to do a probably an epoxy river table or an epoxy sink or epoxy side table. Who knows? Maybe just an epoxy piece of art. But what I'm doing is I got a couple of pieces. Some 2x4s. I split the 2x4s because I want this this box to not be too high. Okay, and you'll see why in a little bit. So I cut my 2x4s down, just nailed them together or screwed them together, and then I need to stabilize these little slabs. So I went ahead and just screwed in a couple of blocks to keep it stable. Here on 3 sides, there's actually a screw over here too. You can see it, but so I've already flattened this side. You can maybe see there's some cuts in there. There's a little bit of just a few ridges from the bit, and I'll show you that too. Anyway, this is the box that the bridge rides on. Right here, the bridge, just MDF, little press board that I put together. This is probably 2 inches. I would go a little lower, just to have enough lip to keep the router in, like so. So the router slides up and down on the bridge, and the bridge moves across the box and slides and makes the cuts. All right, so just scratch that one. And I had a problem with the bridge falling into the box, so I went ahead and put these cleats on the end. So now I can just worry about pushing it back and forth. I don't have to worry about it falling in, which, if you look over here, this is what happens when it falls in. Luckily, that wasn't my workpiece, just the workbench. So, anyway, flatten this. I'm thinking about just going and doing it again and have a completely flat piece, and then sanding it down smooth, and then doing the epoxy. But you can see this is probably 3/4 of an inch, and I have another one over here that's about the same, maybe a little thinner, maybe yeah, about 3/4. And I did this one on both sides, so this one's pretty much ready. But I'll be honest with you, I'm going to get a planer. So when I get the planer, I'm going to slide these through, make sure they're perfectly flat and smooth. I'll probably give it a sanding down to over 300, maybe even farther. Just depends on how crazy I want to get. I do like the rustic look. I like the like I said, the wormholes, the bug holes. So I may or may not go, crazy. If I'm doing a piece of art, I'm probably going to go down to 1,000, 1,200. Break out the 00 wool, steel wool. But a lot of personality in these things. Couple points. If you're going to do this. Let me move this out of the way. If you're going to do this, you want one of these bits. It's essentially a bottom scraper. You can get them on Amazon. I got a pair of these. They're $17 a piece. I bought a $39 one that didn't last long. It was my fault. I basically ran over one of the nails that I had, and that doesn't work well with with these bottom flush bits. So this is my Bosch. I bought this one. It is a 2.5 horse. It's really what you need if you're going to do hardwoods, because it's got to cut through some material. So also, this is a 1/2 inch shank. Do not get a 1/4 inch. It will warp, bend, and break on you. So 2.5 horse, 1/2 inch. Bosch is great. The reason I wanted these lower is because these handles tend to interfere. So I may go and trim these back down, or the next one I make will be a little smaller, because it's inch and a half, too deep, probably too much. Anyway, if you look, I'll take this off. If you look, let's say we have this in here. Another issue I had was the piece itself was too close to the edge. So as I went over it with the bridge, I came to the edge and it bounced up because these 3 pieces were not perfectly level. So it was a little bit higher, so it went up, which caused a lip on the end of the piece. It's okay. I mean, we can sand it out, and that's fine. But why deal with it? So you're probably better off, if you can, get the piece further away from the end. Center it further, or make sure these are pretty much smooth and level with the other sides where it's going to meet. Okay. Also, when you put these little cleats in here, make sure those nails are far enough away that this is not going to catch it. Okay, so keep them far away, and also bury them in. I pre-drilled all these. This is just easy pine stuff. So I buried them in as far as I could without splitting, and ended up with a pretty good piece. You can see there's a lot of let's see if I can get some of that inner grain on there. It's really cool. But I'm really looking forward to the next video where I can show you guys how this turns out with the epoxy on it. So anyway, box, bridge, router bit. Takes some guts too, because that thing's spinning fast. Anyway, any questions? Give me a call. And yes, this is screwed down. You do not want this stuff shifting. Again, another reason why the cleats are in there. You don't want this shifting while you're cutting it. So anyway, looking forward to next video. Like I said, if you guys have questions, don't call me. Comment, questions, subscribe, like, dislike, that's fine. This has been a project that I've been waiting to do for a while, and finally got all my parts together, got a little bit of time, and hopefully it'll come out pretty well. You should see something, if you're watching this, these river tables are pretty cool. It'll be something like that with maybe a colored epoxy in here, clear epoxy on top, and nice and smooth. You can see the grooves in that one really well now. But anyway, like I said, video 2 coming up. Special ed out.